Well, hello and good afternoon, and how are you? And welcome to Global Cleveland's Welcoming Week series of amazing chefs and amazing cooks from around the world who are right here in Cleveland. It gives me a great pleasure and an honor and joy to introduce to you the person who's going to be spending some time with us here, talking a little bit about the food from her nation where she was born and how she is able to be the fabulous entrepreneur and leader that she is here in Cleveland, Ohio. Esther Ngemba immigrated to the United States of America from the Democratic Republic of Congo. While she fled Congo, the unrest and war there, she lived in Uganda for 5 years as a refugee. She and her family resettled to Cleveland in 2011, and Cleveland has not been the same since. She established a new home, her family is here. She constantly advocates and educates for refugees' rights and issues facing her community through public speaking around Ohio, while appearing before lawmakers for policy changes that not only affect her community, but the communities all over Northeastern Ohio. She's currently a junior at John Carroll University, double majoring in international relations and peace and justice and human rights. And cooking has always been an important part of Esther's life. She's going to tell us a little bit about who she learned how to cook what she's going to cook. And also she's going to share with us in her words why she's grateful for the passion that she has for cooking. Because food is something that brings us together to share stories and create joyful memories. Ladies and gentlemen, watching this important series of Welcoming Week, our cooking series, please help me welcome Esther Ngemba.
Yay! Hi, everyone. Hi, my name is Esther Ngemba, like Joe said. I am originally from the Congo, and I'm also a junior at John Carroll University, and I'm also the founder of Furai, A Taste of Home. So I'm going to be showing you how to make simple Congolese food, sambusas. This is like something that everyone loves to make, and it's always like at every single event, and something that I always sell in my business. So today I'll be showing you a simple recipe that you'll also be using, like I'll be using my seasoning, my hot royal seasoning that I also sell with my business. So I'll be showing you how to use it with the seasoning. So I have everything ready. I'm going to move the camera down so you can see.
Esther, can you hold the jar up again so we can see the name of your business? Okay, and if I wanted to look this up, what's the website?
Okay, so if you want to buy it, you can go to www.furaiatasteofhome.com.
Okay, and we will definitely provide that on this video so people can see it, because this is amazing. Thank you, Esther.
Okay, so let's move the camera down. Okay, so right here, I already have, so we're making ground beef tortillas. So I already have the ground beef in the pan, and I just have like a small chunk of it ready. And I also have this, so you can make this from scratch. If you want, you can make it from scratch and just like make it with your regular hand, but I think it's easy if you just buy the regular missionary tortillas. Usually they're already long, usually they're supposed to be like, they're like this, as one of the ones they make for tacos, but I cut them in half. So, and then I have that. So what we're gonna start doing is I'm gonna put some water in the ground beef so it starts boiling and cooking.
It's amazing when you look at how much preparation Esther had to do for this meal. Obviously, this is something that she knows how to do so well, but all this work that goes into it. Esther, who taught you how to make this amazing dish?
Who taught me? So I learned from one of my really close friend, Mary, but like she taught me how to like do the glue and everything. But when it comes to like cause like, okay, so the basic thing about like making sambusas and making them to come out amazing is the spicing and the seasoning in it. If you get the seasoning wrong, then the food will not have any flavor. So seasoning, definitely I learned it from my mom. I also learned it from her mom. So it has been like generation passed on. So she taught us like ever since we were little, like one of the first things you learn is you learn how to like season food and putting the ingredients in there. So I usually like smash, you can see, I usually smash the ground beef before putting in, once I put in a little bit of water, just so it's easy when you're cooking it. Oil and
Esther, is this a meal? Is this something that's part of meals that's, day to day, or is this special for holidays? Like, what role does the sambusa play in the Congolese cuisine calendar?
So this is not a very, you will not find someone doing this like day to day kind of meal. I mean, you can if you, like you can make it day to day if you know how to make it. A lot of people do know how to make it, but it takes a lot of work to know how to make it. So usually, like most of the time, people have sambusas for like special events. Maybe so you can see the ground beef. For like special events. So if you have like a special event happening, you would do like you have the ground, but you have the sambusas. But mostly, like I remember when I was growing up back home, whenever you would eat sambusa, it would be like Christmas or New Year's, or there's a big party, and that's when you have them.
I see. So these are like for special occasions, because the Congolese community that I know in Cleveland really likes to party.
Oh, we love to party. But who doesn't love to party?
It's always so wonderful, Esther, when you share stories with us about how often the community gets together and celebrates weddings and birthdays, and so it's really great. And you started your business. When did you start it, Esther? When did you? I mean, you've always been an entrepreneur, but when did you start this business?
So I started my business July 29th. I don't remember. Sometimes towards the end of July. That's when I started my business.
Okay.
But I've been doing cooking classes with Local Abundance for a really long time. I think like since I was a senior in high school.
Wow.
And I just so I just started teaching like cooking classes, people how to make like basic Congolese food. And I also had opportunities to go to farmers market and educate people as farmers market just to sell them food to them. And it has been like a great experience. And one of the things I always used to get, because I don't like using like a lot of seasoning, is that people, whenever they'll be in my cooking class, they'll be like, oh my gosh, we really love your seasoning. It's not too spicy. It's just like the right amount. And I always told them, yeah, my mom, ever since we're little, we always like blended like our own like stuff and made our own seasoning from home. And that's what like I always use. So, and that's how I came up like using like my own brand. So, if you can see, the ground beef is already kind of like boiling right now. So this is when like I'll put like the seasoning in it. Depending on what type of person you are, you use a lot of seasoning or you don't use a lot. I like a lot of seasoning.
I was gonna ask you.
I want to pour like and this is like I'm using the hot royal seasoning. This is like our hot royal seasoning, but we do have the regular one, and it's organic and vegan. So if you know anything about like Congolese parents, they like to keep their kids healthy, and they're always making us eat healthy, which is fun. I never liked onions growing up, so it was never fun for me. But they always made sure we eat vegetables. So I already have the seasoning in here, and I just like kind of like mixed it in.
I see. So Esther, a question for you. Do you remember these seasonings and spices from before you moved to Cleveland? Has this been something that you've known about like, how did you first get into cooking? And kind of, you clearly have a passion and a talent for it.
So I got into cooking. I got into cooking basically like whenever my mom, like, when I was little, whenever my mom, because like, okay, so back home in Africa would have like where we used to live, we had like an outside kitchen in a way. So whenever she would cook, we'll all just come there and just like chit chat and talk. So I'd watch my mom cook. And then when we moved to Uganda, I just like where we used to live, we were close to like restaurant. So I always used to see like I would watch people cook the entire time. And my mom just kind of like expected us to learn how to cook at a certain age. So I was just kind of like, okay, cool. I really like this. Like, let me learn how to cook. And it just kind of like, she never like one of the things I always said, they never teach you how to cook back home. They expect you to know. So it was something that I watched and I learned how to do it. Like we don't do like, one of the things I always like struggle is coming up with recipes for people because we don't use recipes. It's like right in your head. So like, all like the counts, how many things you need and stuff like that. So, and then also one thing that's different, I know here they usually do like half made, well cooked. Back home, everything is well cooked. So like, I think like everything has to be like well done. Yeah. Everything.
Is the Congolese community in Cleveland big, Esther? Are there a lot of people? Are people still coming from DRC? Like, how would you describe the wonderful culture and community that you're part of?
So we're a huge community. We're a very huge community. A lot of people like don't know about the Congolese community, but we're a very large community. People, I mean, due to like the amount of refugees like getting cut down by the Trump administration, we haven't seen a lot of Congolese refugees coming to Cleveland like lately, which is like very sad. But we have seen a couple come in. I think a few. I don't think this year I've seen any new family, but usually like before like the reduce of numbers of refugees was cut down, we definitely used to see a very amount. Like I think every month we'll see a new Congolese family coming in, and like that was like really nice and exciting. So now this is boiling. I'm gonna put in salt. So most usually like I tell people putting salt, it depends on the type of person you are. Most people like I'll put like this is like a teeny bit of salt. My family doesn't. Growing up, we never ate a lot of salt because my dad has a health issue and he's not supposed to eat a lot of salt. So like growing up, we just like didn't use a lot of salt. So I always like use the amount of salt that you want. But whenever I'm making falashi, I usually put like a medium amount of salt. So it's boiling right now. I'm gonna leave it to boil for a second.
That looks so good. I can't even imagine how wonderful that smells right now.
It smells so good, but like I want to add more seasoning, but I shouldn't. If my mom was here, she'd be like, "You use so much seasoning." So like one of the other things also that you want to when you're making the sambusas, you have to make the glue. I call it full glue, and basically this is flour. This is regular flour. Doesn't matter how much amount you want. So I already have a little teeny bit amount of flour in here, and I'm gonna pour a teeny bit amount of water in here, and I'm gonna try and like stir it for a while to make it.
And Esther, where do you do your shopping for these wonderful things? Like, how do you, where in Cleveland do you buy your materials to make this dish?
So most of my materials like for my sambusas, I buy them at Save a Lot because like they have like the basic stuff that you need, like the missionary tortillas and everything. And when it comes, like let's say if I have a cooking class where I have to make sombe, obugali, which is like fufu, you basically need to go to La Boricana or Jojo's Market. They also have like some of the supplies. They have most of the African, because I try to go to the most of the African food market because they have the supplies that you need. But yeah, if you see right now, this is kind of like turning into kind of like, I want to say porridge, but a lot of people don't know what porridge is.
Yeah.
But it's becoming kind of hard. So you just like let it cook for like a couple of minutes and you just keep stirring it.
You gotta keep stirring it so it doesn't burn, right, Esther?
Yeah, so it doesn't burn, and also it can clog up. Like the flour will clog up if you're not stirring it. So make sure you keep stirring it.
So Esther just she taught us about two places in Cleveland. One is Borincana, which is located on Fulton, just south of Lorraine, right, Esther? That's over there in Ohio City, right on the Metro West border. And JoJo's is a relatively new market, and that's on Clark, right, Esther?
Yes, it is.
And both of those stores are wonderful. And if you haven't experienced them, as Esther is teaching us, they're great places to get a lot of good supplies.
Yes, and the customer service is definitely amazing. And one of the things I love about La Boricana, you go in there, you're not just meeting people from the DRC, you're meeting people from a lot of like, international community. And you're just like seeing all this amazing food and different, like, you get to learn about different people and different stories, which I think is definitely like an amazing. That's what I always recommend. If you have time, go shop there. You'll learn definitely a lot. So you can see right now, it's already kind of like plugged up.
Oh my gosh, that was quick, Esther.
But you don't eat this. Don't eat this. That's one thing. It's already plugged up, and we're gonna use that as the glue for the sambusas. So this is already cooking. It's boiling already, like as you can see. And I'm gonna let it boil for a little while, and then I might just check out some of the water. So one tip that I usually do for me, if I'm making like rice on the side, I usually like will save the water because the water is already pre-seasoned, and I'll cook rice with it or anything that I'm making with it.
That's brilliant. So Esther, you said something that you've been doing cooking classes, since you were a teenager.
Yes.
If somebody wanted to say, hey, Esther, I want to do something really cool and fun and educational, and I want to lift my spirits, but also have an amazing meal. Can people hire you so that you would teach them cooking skills within the Congolese cultural culinary menu?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I do the cooking classes for sure. Yeah. And
Okay.
we have like, yeah, I can teach them anything that they want to learn. I do have already like a preset menu of what you can learn throughout the Congolese cooking menu. I have taught a couple cooking classes in the past, and they have been really amazing. And I think like because of COVID right now, I'm moving it online so we can do it through Zoom, and I'll show you like step by step how to make it.
Oh, that
It's
is
not
excellent.
yeah, and it's not that bad, and you get to like see it. So yeah, definitely you can sign me up for like asking for cooking classes. I have done cooking classes in the past, and then also some people want to experience the Congolese culture, but they also don't want to cook. I've seen that in the past. So sometimes I get invited to events, and basically what I would do is like I'll bring the food already pre-made, and you do have a variety, like whatever you want to make, and then we'll talk about the Congolese culture, about the history of the food, and then people will just eat and enjoy.
Wonderful. Esther, what's your wristband?
Oh, so this is like the flag of Congo. If you see, most Congolese in Cleveland have it. It's like I feel like some people say, is that like showing that you're part of the Congolese community? Like if you don't have it, but some people are like, I feel so left out if I don't have it. So right now I'm gonna glue that. So one of the things that I always do, because I try to keep this as quickly as I can and simple. So while the meat is boiling, I usually try to fold the sambusas. So as you can see, the glue is ready, and it's pretty sticky. So it's pretty sticky because it's flour. So what you do is that you're making a triangle. So you grab like your tortilla in here. And then you get the glue.
Oh, wow.
And then you just basically glue it up. And you want to get as much as you can.
So you cover the whole surface of that triangle of the piece there.
Yeah, so right here, you cover this whole piece right now. And then you basically just kind of like stick it together.
Oh my gosh.
And then see.
Wow.
And you can put anything in there. And you just like make a bunch of this while you're waiting for the meat to cook. And the more you do it, the quicker and the faster you learn how to do it. Because I make them really fast now because I've been doing them for a really long time. I think Mayel thinks he can make them faster than me, but I think I can do them better than him. I think we should have a competition. He thinks I taught him how to make it. Now he thinks he's better than me. I think we can have a competition.
Esther is talking about her amazing brother, Mayel, who is going to watch this video, and the only person in trouble is me, because he already wants to know, Esther, why we didn't invite him to this cooking class. And I said, because the master, which is Esther, is teaching us something right now. So
no, he's not invited. So yeah, I taught Mayel how to make them, and they were pretty easy. He knows how to make it. And I think one of the things that he can also say, one of the things to get right about making the sambusas is always the seasoning. That's one thing that he will make them, like he will fold everything right, but once it comes to like seasoning the meat, that's one thing he's also still learning how to do. So he's not invited. He could come, but he's not invited to teach how to make the class. He always says he's the master at making them. Like, I don't think so. So yeah, you just want to make, I'm making like a bunch of them right now. So what I'm going to do right now, the meat is already, I think the meat is already cooked. So I'm just gonna pour some of the water out of it and kind of like fry it for a little bit. Let me show you.
I see. So you drain it and then you cook it a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
So Esther, do you ever use other things like chicken or, different meats and stuff for that, or is this specifically a beef focused dish?
So yeah, you can use potatoes, rice. I have most the other thing that I usually use is rice in it. So you can definitely use rice while you're making it. And we have made one time with turkey ground beef.
Wow,
So,
that must have been interesting.
Oh, that was so tasty. It was amazing. And the potato one is also like amazing. And yeah, so you can use a lot of things in it, but most of the people use it like people usually ask for like the ground beef one, and yeah, and the potato one. I had one time on a cooking class when a kid said they could put like marshmallow and s'mores and chocolate in there. They asked me that, and I'm like, yeah, you can do that, but that's not usually how we make it. So you want to do that, and then I usually taste the meat because I know the meat is already cooked. So I'll just like.
How is it, Esther? It must be amazing right now.
It's amazing. It's really spicy. But I always say like, I feel like I'm a salt kind of person. I was like, you need more salt. So
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, I tend to do that right now, taste it while I'm frying it to make sure everything is right. Because if it needs more salt, then you have a chance to add more salt in it.
Yes, yes. I love, Esther, how you do all these measurements just by sight and by instinct. Like,
yeah, this is how we do. You know what? For this class, I was gonna bring the measurements, but then I was like, you know what? I need to do it Congolese style, and this is how we do it. So if you're coming to our house, my mom would not use the cooking. You would not use the cooking measurement. She would basically just like grab the salt and be like, there you go. Because I remember when I was learning how to make like the recipe, I was developing recipes. Because one of the things for the cooking classes, once you learn and we do a cooking class with you, we give you all the recipe of what you made. So when I was developing the recipe, it was really hard for me to come up with measurements because I'm so used to just like grabbing and just like throwing.
yes.
So now I'm getting to learn. So I was like, let's do it like this. But definitely, yeah.
Esther, how was it when you came to Cleveland? Was it, do you remember, it must have been such an experience for you to move from, DRC to Uganda to Cleveland. And, you're such a leader. You're this incredible person who's doing great things. And I just wonder like what your experience was like, because I have to imagine it wasn't the easiest thing when you first came here.
It was tough. Like I'm not gonna say it was like, oh, it was such a like an easy experience. It was definitely tough moving here from DRC. Definitely a lot of adjustments. Let this cool down. A lot of adjustments had to be made, like because in DR one of the things is that in Uganda we learned the British English. I think this is like one of the things like I'll say I struggled with. We learned the British English, and then when we came here, I had to learn like the American English, which I never knew there was a difference. But apparently there's a huge difference in the two Englishes. That was one of the things that I struggled with for sure. So I'm just gonna show you. I'm just like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like plugging the meat out. So like, because I'm getting ready to put in the sambusa so it can cool down. But yeah, one of the challenges I think for me was like, because our parents wanted us to go to school, was when I came to like, we had to take like the placement exam to see where they placed us in. And for me, I didn't know it was we have never taken multiple choices tests in my life. That was the first time, because back home in Africa, everything is written. There's no multiple choice. So I was very confused. I remember at one point I just started bubbling things up, and I finished so early before everybody else. And I'm like, oh, I'm done. I can take a nap. So I took a nap, and I ended up failing the test because I got everything wrong.
Oh.
So I think that was like one of the main challenges that I faced, was just coming in, and also like we had a very thick accent, and we were speaking also the British English. So like that was really hard, just like transitioning and learning and having like teachers understand you what you're saying, like So that was like one of the things definitely that was challenging, and learning how to adapt to a new environment.
Would you recommend to people from Congo, DRC, to come to Cleveland based on your experiences?
Yes, I would, except for the winter time.
Except for the winter time.
Winter in Northeast Ohio is brutal.
Oh my gosh.
I remember I was so excited. Oh my gosh, this is a funny story. When we moved here, one of the things I was really looking forward to seeing is snow. I remember when the first time when like the snow started falling outside, I literally went outside with like flip-flops and no jacket on. And I was freezing and I was like, this is not it. This is not it. And my brother always says, yeah, you wanted to see snow, go outside. And whenever winter starts, he always reminds me like, hey, do you remember how excited you are to see snow? How much do you love it now?
Because I bet that back in Congo, there wasn't a whole lot of snow.
No, there wasn't any snow. It was very nice, cool temperature. So I'm gonna put I have my pan ready. I'm just gonna put oil in it. I'm using like regular vegetable oil.
Okay.
So that while I'm closing the sambusa, this gets ready so that the sambusas can be fried. Come on. So yeah, you're just gonna deep fry the sambusas, and it's really easy to deep fry them.
And do you ever freeze them, Esther? Is this something that you can make beforehand and then put away and then pull out as you need it, or do you make it fresh every time? If I always tell people, I think I'm a picky eater, so I always like it fresh all the time. But definitely you can freeze it. Like one of the things that I do sometimes is basically if I have like a large order of sambusas, I'll cook everything the day before, like the night before, and then fry it in the morning. That's like whenever I'll make it stay. But when it comes to like making the sambusas like stay for really like freezing it, because I feel like once something is frozen, it definitely like loses the taste of it sometimes. I agree.
Okay. So right now, so I try to make all the sambusas like fresh as I can. So it's already cooked. So I usually grab, this is like a spoon of the ground beef, and then I'll just pour it in here. It's gonna be good. Pour it in here. You want to leave space on the top because you're gonna close it like this. You're gonna close it like this. So I always tell people, close it, put the pot so you see this pot that already has a little bit of glue on the inside, right there. Do that, and then you want to grab the glue again. It's really sticky. And then you just want to put the glue like right here. See, like right here.
I see.
And you put as much, like make sure it's being glued, because if not, it will open while you're frying it, and that's a hot mess. So it's glued already.
Oh, wow. Look at that. It looks like a pillow. It's so beautiful.
And it's soft like a pillow too. So just make a bunch of them. Put them in.
And if you were at your family's house, Esther, would there be a specific drink or beverage in the Democratic Republic of Congo that people would drink with it? Is there something that goes along with this in terms of part of the meal?
Oh yeah, so for sure you can drink. So one of the juices I remember we do use, like you can drink like hop. There isn't really there isn't really a specific beverage that you can drink with it, but for sure you can like I don't know. There isn't like just water, pop, anything with it. Honestly, there isn't anything particular with it, because this is something that you can literally just grab and eat at an event.
It seems like it could be a meal in and of itself. Like it's so filling and full. It's like a real food, you know?
Yeah, you know what? I think it can be a meal in itself. Like a lot of people, mostly like Americans that have it here, usually eat it as a meal.
Sure.
They'll for sure just like grab it and they're like, oh, that's what I had for dinner. And I'm like, really? Like, that's just like such a small meal, because we're so used with being a large meal for us. Like, not a large meal, like just something on the side. So I'm just gonna close. This is the last one. We're gonna close. So because, okay, one other thing, because I didn't make a lot of it, so I didn't need to drain it. But most of the time, if I'm making a huge amount of it, I will put this in something that drains everything out of it.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't have to do that, since like this was like such a small amount. I didn't have to drain it. So one thing that I'm going to do, I'm gonna go wash my hands so I can start like frying this. Hopefully the oil is ready.
You're tuning in right now. We are watching an amazing meal of sambusas being prepared by Esther Ngemba, who is sharing with us some of her wonderful culture and cuisine from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Esther is a leader in our community, and we are fortunate to work with her at Global Cleveland. She is a student at John Carroll, but today she is teaching all of us how to make this extraordinary piece of culture and food from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So we're very grateful.
On the side, I'm gonna put this on the side too.
For our viewers, the hardest part of this is that, you know, in the age of the pandemic, this is all virtual. So I'm sitting here like wishing I were eating these sambusas, but you know, to watch Esther make them is to watch a master chef make something that make anybody.
Thank you. It's okay, yeah. Yeah, you can also the sambusas, we do make them available to order some days, not a lot, because like I'm usually like busy and stuff like that. But whenever, if you follow like the Furai Instagram page and Facebook page, we usually post whenever we're at farmers market. Because I usually go to farmers market whenever we get invited to events, and we'll sell them. So if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, we usually post whenever we're doing that. And sometimes I usually just sell the sambusas, like, you know, whenever I have free time at home, I open the delivery so everyone can get like free sambusas, because I know people love sambusas and everyone just wants to have them.
Oh, wow.
Hey, so our oil is ready. So I'm gonna do this the right way, not the Esther way. Sometimes I just grab the sambusa and dump it in the oil. That's not safe. Don't do that. But that's how I do it. But I'm gonna use this. Okay, so the oil is ready. So I already tested the oil by putting one of the missionary tortilla in it.
Yes.
So what you want to do?
I was going to say, for anyone, Esther's Twitter handle is ENGEMBA, Esther Ngemba. It's at ENGMBA. And Furahi Taste of Home is FURAHIA tasteofhome.com. And you can order right on the website, so everybody knows.
Yes. Okay, so then you put the sambusas in like this. That's the safe way to do it. Sometimes, like, what I would do, I usually tell people who have never done this, don't do this. I'll just grab it and stick it in there like that. And you just want to turn it. Just want to turn them around. Over. I can put you in here too.
Oh my gosh, Esther. That looks like the setting sun. That looks like a sun that just set on the horizon. My God, that is so fast. You cook it so quickly.
Yeah, because the missionary tortilla is already cooked, so you don't have to do a lot of work. Yeah. That's one of the main reasons I love using the missionary tortillas, because they're already pre-cooked, so that you don't have so much work to do.
That is unbelievable, Esther. You make it look so easy. If I were in the kitchen with you right now, food would be on the floor, the kitchen would be on fire, and that oil would have been a disaster. You're an amazing cook.
Do I think you can do it? I think next time I'll show you how to do it. I will walk you through it.
We're going to call the Cleveland Department of Fire before we'll let them know.
We'll give them a heads up, but we'll do it. You can do it. So yeah, I'm gonna let you can see them, they're down here. I'm gonna let them cool down because, okay, don't eat them really when they come off the oil. Someone has done that before. That will burn you. That will really burn you. So please don't do that. That scares me whenever people do that. I'm like, you're gonna get burned so bad right now. So they're right here.
Esther's telling that for people like me who would have just eaten it and.
Don't do that. So yeah, those are the sambusas. Yeah, and then if you think they were not like spicy enough or anything, like, you know, was not spicy enough, one of the things that you can do is, one of the great thing about the seasoning, the royal hot seasoning is already cooked. So if you thought it was not hot enough, you can still grab a little bit and eat with it.
Oh, so you use that like as an extra sauce or like a dip?
You can use it as an extra sauce or dip, but it's a very hot extra sauce or dip. I always tell people put it on food because it's really hot.
So I just want to take a second and I want to say thank you to Esther for being such an extraordinary person. I also want to thank her and her family for picking Cleveland and picking the United States. It's obvious someone as talented and brilliant as Esther is, she could be anywhere in the world right now. But like LeBron James took his talents to South Beach, Esther took them here to the North Coast. And we really appreciate her. Esther, is there anything that you want to share with us? We will be sharing farahitasteofhome.com so that you can actually try to be a great chef and cook like Esther. But is there anything you want to say here in conclusion with this amazing meal that you prepared for?
Yeah, I always say anyone can be a great chef, and everyone can learn. I think our culture's meals are very I don't want to say simple. They might be simple to me, but everybody else definitely is something that I love to educate other people with. And I think one thing I like to say with my with my business, for Taste of Home, all like the produce, like it definitely helps me, but I also try to give back to the community. So like just a couple of weeks ago, I was able to help. Like I donated to an organization that was raising fund for education. So whenever you support my business, I'm also supporting like the community that welcomed us here. Because one of the things that I always tell people is that coming to Ohio, if we didn't get the support of like the community here in Northeast Ohio, we wouldn't have made it through to where we are today. So it's always important for us to give back to the community that was so welcoming to us. And I always say that, I say for us, I say for everybody in my family, like my brother helps like the community, my sister also. We all try to give back as much as I can. And so I always say that I always try to partner as many organizations as I can to help support like, you know, kids who I need. I mean, I'm very passionate about education. That's my thing. But about that, and I always say, yeah, order the seasoning. It's vegan and organic, and you can cook a lot of things with it. I know one of the things I don't like to chop a lot of things and mix a lot of things. So I made sure like when I was doing the seasoning, I incorporated everything that I cook with. So you only have like one TB, like you only have to do like once, you're only using one seasoning instead of using multiple of them. And it also saves you a lot of money because I'm a college student and I know about budgeting. I don't want to spend a lot of money on anything, but I just say thank you to Global Cleveland for hosting me. Joe, I'll be sure to send you some amazing sambusas. I don't know if I should eat them in front of you.
You are awesome, and we are so honored. And thank you for sharing this gift with us. We so much appreciate you, and thank you for bringing us a little bit closer to Congo.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Joe, I'll be waiting to make one with you in your kitchen.
Thank you, Esther. Have a good day, and thanks everybody for watching.
All right, bye everyone.